So right now I'd like to tell you guys a little bit about the new board that we've made, which is called the White Tiger. And it's a stubby, we call it the fun performance board because it's a performance but fun, fat little board. I made the first one for John Florence a few years back, and then he kind of left it in his garage and didn't ride it at all because he tends to just ride like real high performance boards. He doesn't really ride stubby little funny boards that often. So in the meantime, I made his brother Ivan a couple of them, and he loved them. And they really suit like his kind of like surf skate kind of style, and the wide like kind of platform. It's like a real stable platform for landing airs, and that short little, it's real flat too. So like that short flat rocker thing where you can just pump down the line really quick, boost airs and land it really good. It worked for Ivan really well. By the time John actually started riding his, he didn't really tell me about it until later on, but he just said, "Oh, I love this little board. Like, what is this thing?" And the one I made him didn't even have a name, but the thing that I made Ivan, I'd just been riding White Tiger on it, just as kind of like a weird little code for whatever it was. And so that kind of stuck with us, the White Tiger. Basically what this thing is it's a very flat rocker. The tail rocker is really flat. It has a ton of double concave V back here, and then some concave with a little bit of double concave through the middle. So what happens with that is you get a really flat spot of rocker through the center between your feet, and that gives you just tons and tons of speed. When that blends into V off the tail, that helps the board tip rail to rail. It releases some pressure through turns and adds a little rocker to the rail of the board. And then the front end of the board is, the tail is just slightly wider than the nose. It's got a really wide fat nose. It's got a little kind of refined beak, which lets you keep that rocker, the flat rocker, but also with this deck rocker, you fill in the front area of the board and keeps a lot of thickness through here, which really helps in like a short little board, keeping a bunch of foam up under your chest for paddling. The other thing that's real significant in this is it has a pretty flat deck. The deck curves really flat, so it goes into a pretty full rail under your hand. It's still really full, but then as it tapers off here, you get kind of like a refined rail feel from the board, just the way the curve, it's not a boxy rail, it's like a tapered curve, which keeps like a lot of foam in the board, easy for paddling and keeping you on at speed and like slower waves, but it also has a little bit of a refined feel to it through a turn. This thing is just like, it's going to be something that's really fun for people in weaker, slower waves because it just keeps its speed, and it's easy to get up and get going really quickly too because of the flat rocker, but it also holds speed through like slow sections. And then the shortness of it, as you ride it a bit shorter than you would your normal board, like even up to like 5 or 6 inches shorter, that helps it fit into a bunch of little tight turns and tight little pockety waves, as well as like open face fat waves too, which has a nice wide squash tail. You can see it's really full. It doesn't have any hip. It's just a clean outline. The wide point is just a little bit, it's about 1.5 inches in front of the center of the board. But since the board's so short, it doesn't feel like it's got a ton of area up front, even though it has a wide nose, because you're gonna ride it shorter. I think this board is gonna be a really, really fun board for people like on the East Coast, even on the West Coast too, in like weaker waves. Anywhere around the world where you're surfing like smaller waves that are weaker and kind of slower and fatter faced, this board will keep a lot of flow through turns and let you kind of keep your speed up no matter what. At the same time, like these guys like John and Ivan have been riding them a lot in Hawaii. John took one to Fiji that he really liked. And so in good surf, you can have a good time riding like a smaller, funny little punty board that just gives you kind of a little different feel to everything you're used to, you know, basically. So that's kind of the White Tiger in a nutshell. Fun performance at its best, and just a good time in a small package.
うぞ。